Welcome to G0 Sports. I'm your guy, Almighty Mac, and right now, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons and Matt Ryan. Are we not more disappointed than we've ever been, or should we be used to how they lose like this? Now let's talk, okay? Matt Ryan is the epitome of, I would call him the white Sidney Dean of the NFL. You know, the guy that looks good and loses all the time? You know, you ever seen White Men Can't Jump? That's another discussion. Matt Ryan would be the equivalent of Sidney Dean. He looks good and loses big games, okay? So let's talk about it. We have him against the Dallas Cowboys where Matt Ryan looked flawless in the first half. He looked flawless in the first half. The same way he looked flawless in the first half during that Super Bowl that they lost. So now let's continue. Matt Ryan had 273 yards. 4 touchdowns. He had a quarterback rating of 126.3 in a loss. What are we talking about? See, I've heard this for years, and it's never proven to be true. When they speak about Matt Ryan, they speak of him in this light of being an elite quarterback on the levels of Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson. Let's think about this. Where in this discussion do you have him rated amongst guys like Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees? Why is he mentioned in these discussions? He has now become the epitome of what we're watching Aaron Rodgers come out of. But Matt Ryan was never as good as any of those quarterbacks, and nobody's ever paid attention to it. Now, let's continue. Let's look at the last time they lost, okay? So let's pay attention to this, all right? First game when they played against the Seahawks. Matt Ryan had 450 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He had a 98.5 quarterback rating. He is an awesome stat piler. Okay, so if you choose him for your fantasy team, you're going to win all day. But if you choose him in real life as your quarterback on your team, you finna lose all day. We watched him tank the entire Super Bowl. The entire Super Bowl, he tanked the entire Super Bowl after the first half. He's a terrible second half quarterback, so I don't know how Matty Ice became his name. This is a thing where people give these, as far as nicknames and these things where they're trying to describe these quarterbacks, and you got a guy called Matty Ice where he's supposed to have ice water in his veins or something when it comes to tough games and make the big passes, and we've watched him consistently lose in big games. Constantly. He's like Phillip Rivers, okay? One thing about Matt Ryan is it's more dangerous with him going up 21 points than anything. Think about that. That's terrible. If the worst position that you can be in as a team is to be up 21 points because your quarterback is not going to make any plays after that, that's a tough situation to be in. And that's where the Atlanta Falcons are. I do believe this needs to be Matt Ryan's last season, regardless. I don't care how they turn it around. They need to turn the page. You know what I mean? Because when we're watching the Falcons, we watch a lot of talent. And this is where a lot of things get misconstrued, and this is what I like to break down right now. Let's proceed. The Atlanta Falcons give you this same feeling. They are surrounded with talent, okay? So the talent that Matt Ryan has around him kind of makes him look like a better quarterback than he actually is. And when Matt Ryan is not making plays, wide receivers are being released for it. When he's the constant denominator in the whole, he's the common denominator in the entire situation. And then we have no plays being made, his team losing, but the wide receivers are getting cut. What's going on, man? Now, we're watching the epitome of a guy who looks good and loses, all right? 273 yards and 4 touchdowns in a loss. Let's think about it. You're up 21 points in the Super Bowl in a loss. These same quarterbacks that they rate you amongst are the same quarterbacks you have never been proven to beat. Come on, man. We can talk the regular season talk all we want. Let's talk about playoff wins, Super Bowls, things of that nature, okay? He's just not there, man, and the Falcons really do need to move on because, like we say, it's early in the season right now. But this is him. Like, come on, let's just pay attention to it and make sense. And I really think the Falcons need to move on. They're not going to be able to progress with a quarterback like this. This is just like with the Raiders and Derek Carr, and that's a whole nother podcast for a whole nother time. But let me know what you think about this, man, because Matt Ryan is a consistent loser, man, when it comes down to making the big plays in the big games. You know, everybody's going to debate this back and forth. Hey, man, he has this and that. I don't want to hear none of that. Let's talk about what is on the table right now. You were up, and then you lost. You looked good, and you lost. You looked elite, and lost. They label you elite, and you lose. I'm Almighty Mac, man. Drop a comment, drop a like. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Matt Ryan is an elite quarterback, or do you think that it's all hype because it's starting to prove to be all that? I think it's all hype, baby. I've always thought it was all hype because it never did add up. And 2 + 2 does not equal 96. Remember that. I'm Almighty Mac. This is Vicious 11, brought to you by G0 Sports, and I'm out.